Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's media availability presented by the Walt Disney Company, ESPN, and the National Hockey League. Earlier today, as I believe you all know, we announced a groundbreaking 7-year partnership among the top hockey league in the world and these iconic entertainment and sports broadcasting and content companies. In a moment, we'll be joined by 3 of the men who made it happen: Bob Chapek, Jimmy Pitaro, and Gary Bettman. Okay, please join me in welcoming Bob Chapek, CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Jimmy Pitaro, Chairman, ESPN Sports and Content, and NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, it's great to be here, Gary and Jimmy. We're thrilled with partnering with the NHL, bringing back hockey to ESPN and ABC, and we really look forward to giving fans unprecedented access to an incredible lineup of NHL games and programming. And I know how passionate and loyal hockey fans can be growing up as a Chicago Blackhawks fan. And this agreement's going to allow them to watch their favorite teams like never before on our world-class platforms, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, ABC, and Hulu. So we're really excited about this new partnership and the value that it represents, not only to Disney, but the league and sports fans around the world. So now I'll turn it over to Commissioner Bettman.
Thank you, Bob, for that incredible welcome, your vote of confidence, and most importantly, your support. Thank you, Jimmy Pitaro, and everyone at ESPN and the Walt Disney Company, including my friend Bob Iger, for bringing us back to, as they say, the worldwide leader in sports. To be rejoining ESPN with this agreement that includes ABC, ESPN, ESPN Plus, and Hulu gives us an unprecedented array of platforms, and as important, makes us the beneficiaries of the incredible coverage and promotion that ESPN gives its other major sports. Some may forget that we've been working with Disney streaming services for the last 5 years, as DSS has been responsible for our digital rights, most notably NHL.TV. So we are very aware of their capabilities and are thrilled to be continuing the relationship with Michael Paul and his team as well. An interesting and compelling aspect of this new arrangement for our fans is that NHL.TV's 1,000 plus out-of-market games will now reside on ESPN Plus, so that fans can get our out-of-market package for less money and at the same time get all the other great content that ESPN Plus has. This package also contemplates a second package, which will make even more games available nationally, another plus for our fans. But most importantly, this is a transformative time in media, especially sports media. Our new partnership harnesses the power of the Walt Disney Company and its multitude of platforms. It puts us on the cutting edge of content distribution, a great linear package with all Stanley Cup final games in the package on ABC, and a consistent regular season schedule, as well as a forward-looking strategy focusing on the impact of streaming. This is a win-win-win. A win for ESPN and the Walt Disney Company, a win for the NHL, and most important, a win for fans. We could not be more thrilled. And again, I want to thank Jimmy Pitaro for his vision and his confidence in us. Jimmy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Commissioner. I've been at ESPN now for over 3 years, and one of the very first things I discussed with the team when I started was the younger, avid NHL fan base and the idea of going after NHL rights when they became available. And I couldn't be more pleased that we've been able to make this happen and bring the NHL back to Disney for the first time since 2004. This really is a paradigm-shifting deal that only the Walt Disney Company can do. It illustrates some of the ways our company is truly distinctive and serves as a model for rights deals of the future. It's also a reinforcement of the value we can provide to our partners, both in terms of quality storytelling and production, and also our tremendous cross-platform capabilities and reach, including, of course, cable and broadcast, and now with the success of ESPN Plus and Hulu direct to consumer. And streaming really is at the heart of this deal. And this is a reflection of its role as a critical part of our future. ESPN Plus will now be a must-have for hockey fans. And as we're already seeing on social, this deal is going to make a lot of people happy, including a lot of ESPN employees who are incredibly passionate about the NHL and are very excited to dig in. So, Commissioner, we're excited to be back and to be back in such a big way. And thank you for seeing what we see here, that together we can really grow this incredible sport. And our shared belief is wholly demonstrated in this deal, and we can't wait to get started with you. And so with that, let's open it up for your questions.
Okay, we have a lot of questions, so let's get right to them. Let's start with Joe Reedy from the Associated Press. Go ahead, Joe.
Thanks, John. For Gary and Jimmy, just how long had the discussions been taking place? And I think, Jimmy, the one question that everybody has as far as ESPN Plus is the TV package will be included in there, but do you imagine the price of ESPN Plus going up significantly, or will it still be good value for fans?
Gary, do you want to start with the first part of that question?
No, you can go first.
Yeah, so look, Gary and I have been talking about this for quite some time, just at a very high level. Of course, we said to the commissioner, you know, when the time is right, when you are comfortable to have a meaningful conversation, and when you're able to have that meaningful conversation, we're ready. But again, going back to my opening comments, from when I first got to ESPN, we sat down as a leadership team and looked at the data and looked at the demos. And they have a young demographic here, one of the youngest sports, in fact. And when you look at ESPN's priorities, one of our top priorities is audience expansion, and that includes attracting this younger demographic. So again, you know, we said to the league, you know, the ball's in your court. You let us know when you're ready to have the conversation. But once we did start to have a meaningful conversation, it happened very quickly. And then in terms of the games that will appear within ESPN Plus, again, this is in the release, but we will have 75 regular season national exclusive games within ESPN Plus and also made available within Hulu SVOD. To be clear, those games will be part of the base package. So if you're a subscriber to ESPN Plus, you will have access to these 75 exclusive regular season national games, and you will also have access to 1,000 plus games that previously were part of the NHL.TV package.
What I'll add is when Jimmy first took over at ESPN, we were getting acquainted, and at 30,000 feet, it was at some point, wouldn't it be great to get together? And I would say things really heated up over the last 2 months. And since we were now creating a new package, it was incumbent upon our respective teams to really work out the details. And I think both teams did an incredible job of bringing us to this point. It was easier for Jimmy and I. We got to do the higher level, you know, here are the deal points, and the other 1,000 deal points our teams worked out. But it was a very collaborative, smooth effort.
Thanks, Joe. Next question comes from Sean Shapiro of The Athletic. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Gary, with this deal, two-part question. One, obviously there's another partial deal for this as well. What's kind of the timeline you expect for the other part of this deal to see? And when do you see kind of the economic impact of this deal coming into play as far as salary cap goes and things along those lines?
Well, two good questions. First, we decided we were focused on this deal and structuring it before we could focus on the next deal, because we wanted to make sure we were crafting a package that made sense to ESPN. And so we'll start focusing on that now. And my guess is over the next few weeks, we'll be responding to the numerous expressions of interest that we've received. With respect to the salary cap, we, as I think everybody knows, did a 4-year extension to the salary cap, to the collective bargaining agreement. And as part of that, the salary cap is basically going to be flat until we recover the overpayments through the escrow that we've built up, both in the return to play from last season, which obviously had to be concluded under different circumstances, and this season, where obviously there's a major escrow building up because of the fact that there's no attendance, and attendance directly and indirectly accounts for roughly half of our revenues. So I think everybody is basically focusing on a flat cap or a near flat cap for the immediate future.
Thanks, Sean. Next question comes from Nick Kotzanika of NHL.com. Go ahead, Nick.
Jimmy, I was wondering if you could expound on what you said about the younger demographic. I assume the NHL is valuable to you because you have a young, tech-savvy audience that would gravitate towards streaming, and now that grows your audience that you already have for ESPN Plus and Hulu. And for Gary, how does being on ESPN Plus all these other platforms help grow the league and its audience, just being in different places in different ways?
I guess I'll start, Commissioner. So in terms of the data, I think most of you, if not all of you, have seen a lot of the positive momentum with the NHL audience, but we've seen the largest growth in fandom among the major professional leagues since 2005. Viewership in 21 for the 18 to 49 demo is up around 30%, at least the most recent data that I have. And all younger demos are up double digits. Again, that's all music to our ears. As we look to attracting the younger generation, we think NHL content, live games are going to significantly help us. And then, the synergy with digital, the fact that these are early adopters, as you said, they're tech savvy. We feel like ESPN Plus is a fantastic platform. And so we love the fact that we have a significant number of games. This deal really is the first of its kind. If you look at the amount of national exclusive inventory that's going to live on a direct-to-consumer platform, this hasn't been done before. And then on top of that, really the jewel, the centerpiece is the out-of-market games, which again will be available within ESPN Plus. So we feel like this is going to really help accelerate the product in our subscription base.
For us, this reflected the reality of what the media world's looking like now. Everybody knows that there's cord cutting, and everybody knows that the streaming platforms are growing dramatically. And we think at some point, probably relatively early on in this deal, there's going to be a convergence because of the explosion in the growth and some of the softness with cord cutting. For our fans, this is an opportunity, our younger fans, to give them what they want on the places where they go for content. But equally as important for us is the linear package and the fact that the playoffs are going to be carried extensively by ESPN and ABC, and the finals in the years that this package has for the Walt Disney Company, the Stanley Cup final, all the games will be on ABC. So for us, this was the best of both worlds. We're getting the linear exposure that more traditionally we need and want, and at the same time, we're on the cutting edge of what's coming with streaming, and the numbers are already tremendously strong in terms of how many people have Hulu and ESPN Plus.
Thanks, Nick. Next question comes from John Oran of the SBJ. Go ahead, John.
I have a question for Jimmy. I was expecting the ESPN Plus aspect here. You haven't really done any deals that negate ESPN Plus. The Hulu was a bit of a surprise. Can you talk at all about the overall strategy with Hulu as it pertains to sports programming?
Yeah, look, John, you know this. Our mission is to serve the sports fan anytime, anywhere. And that means across platforms. And Hulu's a fantastic platform. It's my service provider here in Westport, Connecticut, Hulu plus live TV. I'm a huge fan of the product. And our job at ESPN is to provide access to ESPN content. And Hulu at over 39 million subscribers when last announced is a fantastic way for us to expand our reach and give our fans more ways to access our content. So again, so that everyone understands what we're really talking about here, those 75 games, those exclusive national games that are being made available starting next season on ESPN Plus will also be made available to Hulu SVOD subscribers. And
that's part of where our discussions really came together, because Jimmy was sensitive to the fact that we wanted to make sure that those games were being widely distributed. And so the combination of ESPN Plus and Hulu gives us tremendously broad distribution, approaching the level of some cable services now. And that's why we think over time, as they continue to grow, there's going to be a convergence in terms of how widely available our games are going to be.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the games will be still produced by ESPN. They will be ESPN branded, but it's an opportunity for us to showcase Hulu as a powerful, growing, and really distinctive streaming product, and a way for us to deliver incredible content and, I would say, outstanding value to Hulu subscribers.
Thanks, John. Next question comes from Neil Best of Newsday. Go ahead, Neil.
This is for Gary. Given the focus on the streaming from this part of your package, when you sell the other half of it, will it be important to make sure there's a significant amount of linear games still as part of that package?
There is significant linear in this package, particularly in the playoffs, and we will be working with the interested parties to try and craft the type of package that makes sense to them and to us. It's a collaborative process. We don't go to a media potential partner and say, this is what we demand. We try and work together to put together a package and a partnership that makes sense, which is exactly how this one came about. We'll go through the same process again with the rights that we've reserved. Obviously, the Walt Disney Company, ESPN, have the most extensive rights, but we've reserved enough to make a very attractive package, and we're flexible in terms of the platforms that we can put those games on.
Thanks, Neil. Next question comes from Richard Deitch of Sportsnet. Go ahead, Richard.
Thanks. This question is for Jimmy. Jimmy, understanding that there's still a lot of runway to go, where would you say you are in terms of a timeline regarding assigning and announcing key broadcast personnel, such as play-by-play broadcasters, studio hosts, on-ice reporters, et cetera?
Yeah, thank you, Richard. Look, going back to my opening comments, I will tell you that my inbox is absolutely flooded at the moment. I have people on the inside reaching out to me, people on the outside reaching out to me over the past 24 hours since this story first broke. And it's amazing. Well, it's actually not amazing. It's not at all surprising to me how many people want to be attached to this product at the Walt Disney Company. I will tell you, we're not ready to talk about any plans there. We really have not had any meetings to discuss talent, play-by-play, analysts, et cetera. At the same time, I will tell you that through this deal, you'll really see the power of the ESPN megaphone. So while we've, I think, done a fantastic job at covering the league and the game of hockey across our various programs like SportsCenter and Get Up, what you're going to see, Richard, is more studio programming specifically focused on the NHL. So a show like In the Crease, which I think is fantastic, I think you can expect, I know you can expect to see more of that. And so those meetings have already started in terms of studio programming. But to your main question, in terms of play-by-play, et cetera, we truly have not had any discussions yet on that. But what I will say, as I think you know as well as I do, we have some really talented, experienced people here already at ESPN that have a long history, a long positive history with the NHL. And so we're excited to start to talk to them about this.
Thanks, Richard. Next question comes from Ben Mullen of the Wall Street Journal. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, guys. Will the NHL network be affected at all by this deal?
The NHL network, it currently was controlled through Disney streaming services. It's reverting back to us to operate, and we're going to continue to explore ways to increase its carriage. But the NHL network will still be in existence and will still carry its usual slate of games.
Thanks, Ben. Sorry about that. Next question comes from Stephen Battaglio of the LA Times. Go ahead, Stephen.
Thank you. Hi. A few questions. One, are you going to tell us what the value of this deal is on an annual basis?
I wasn't planning on it. I believe it's fair to say that we were both satisfied with the arrangement that we reached. And when I had this approved by the NHL owners on Monday unanimously, they were satisfied. Jimmy, it's up to you.
Yeah, Stephen, I'd echo the commissioner's words. This went in front of the ESPN board and the Disney board, and they were also very satisfied.
Would a substantial increase in the over what NBC is paying be accurate?
I'm not gonna respond to that.
The answer to your question is, we think we've become more valuable over time.
Thanks, Stephen. Next question comes from Andrew Marchand of the New York Post. Go ahead, Andrew.
I have a question, one for Gary and one for Jimmy. Gary, just what was the thought process of doing one deal, getting that done, and then still having the second package, the B package, still out there? What's the thought process there?
That's a great question, and it comes in two parts. One, the other three majors all have multiple partners, so they've already figured out how to divvy the rights among them. This has become an increasingly complicated media landscape. In the old days, it was linear, then it was linear and cable, over the air, then it was cable, and now there's streaming components. We needed to make sure that we were crafting a package that made sense to ESPN and the Walt Disney Company, and at the same time, attempt to reserve enough rights that we believed would be attractive for a second package, and we believe we've accomplished that. But you had to do one at a time in order to get it right and make sure that we weren't going to be promising the same thing in two different places. I thought it was important with Jimmy to make sure we were aligned as to what needed to be done, and then we'd have plenty of time to go to the next package, of which I believe there's a great deal of interest that's been expressed to us.
Thanks, Andrew. We have about 5 more minutes, so let's try to get in as many as we can. Let's go to Tim Basinger from TheWrap.com. Go ahead, Tim.
Just to be clear to Andrew, I think he said he had 2 questions, so we might want to get his second question when we have the opportunity.
All right, I'm back. Thanks, Jimmy. So my second question was, it's kind of 2 parts. One's an easy. In terms of the 75 exclusive games for Plus and Hulu, can you pick any games? Like, is there any limitation in terms of what type of game you can pick, or how many games you can have of, Rangers, Islanders, etc.?
Yeah,
we have a
commissioner take that one.
Well, as we do under the current arrangement, there are appearance limitations, and that's something that we have with our clubs. And so you're not going to just get one slate of clubs throughout the whole package. It'll be a mix of our teams, principally in terms of the attractiveness in the U.S. markets. There'll be U.S. matchups, but there will be some Canadian matchups as well, because we do have some exciting young stars and great teams in Canada. But you'll find at least one U.S. team, and generally 2 in the games that we're putting into this package.
And then, Jimmy, how important is it in terms of being long tail with the regular season, so people stay with Plus? So, if you only did the playoffs, for example, they might do it for 2 months and then cut it off. How important is that in terms of your planning and having that tonnage?
Yeah, look, you're 100% right. The stickiness is incredibly important. Having this volume of games, again, as I said earlier, Andrew, having 1,000+ games. If you're a hockey fan, we believe that this is now a must-have package, and the fact that it's per the earlier question, it will be part of the base package for ESPN Plus. We're pretty optimistic here that people are going to, hockey fans, passionate fans, avid fans, casual fans, are going to sign up for this product and stick with it.
Hey, Tim, you're up.
Hey guys, one for Jimmy, one for Gary. Jimmy, as you guys have talked about, viewing trends are evolving. Obviously streaming is becoming much more of a thing. Do you see maybe, in the next couple of years or even 5-10 years from now, that ESPN becomes primarily maybe a streaming focused company? And for Gary, would you say maybe that, or do you think that the NHL was maybe, in terms of its popularity and its viewership, was negatively impacted by not being on ESPN for the past 17 years?
Jimmy, you can go first.
2 things, Tim. First, I would say this deal is actually a reinforcement of our continued commitment to our core linear networks. If you look at the regular season games that will be made available exclusively across our linear networks, if you look at the fact that we're going to be sharing the postseason, we're going to have 4 out of the 7 Stanley Cup finals. Again, it's a reinforcement of our commitment to these networks. At the same time, yes, streaming is at the heart of this deal, and this is a reflection of its role as a critical part of our future. I think that's as far as I'd go there.
So the answer to the question is, who would know whether or not things might have been different? I will say that over the last 15 years, our viewership has grown significantly, which counters a trend over that timeline for most sports. I will say, and we're still talking to them, NBC did a terrific job in growing the profile of the game. But I also acknowledge that while ESPN covered us on a regular basis with great talent, had a presence during the playoffs, particularly at the Stanley Cup final, my guess is it's only human nature that there would have been more of an attention on the properties that they had rights to than on us. And I'm well aware of their ability to promote and market and reach more sports fans than anybody else. And I think that is going to continue our growth and was an extraordinarily important part of the attractiveness of us coming together with this partnership.
Thanks, Tim. Next question comes from Jake Malik of Sideline Sports. Go ahead, Jake.
So we've talked a lot about this deal, but the first part of this goes to Gary. Gary, in signing this deal, what was your expectation in terms of growing the sport? Did you feel, and I know you kind of touched on this, but did you really think that this was best not only for the league, but for the players and the teams themselves? And then the second part of that will go to Jimmy. How do you think you can help the NHL grow, being that we've kind of talked about that streaming services are the future, but how do you think what you guys can do will help the NHL grow?
Well, first of all, I think that the capabilities that ESPN continuously demonstrates in terms of how they cover and promote sports will help continue to grow our game. And as I just said, that was an attractive element of doing the package. I have complete confidence in Jimmy and how he's going to have his team treat NHL hockey. And I think their reach, particularly for young people, will continue our growth. So we enter into this deal with an expectation together that we're each doing something new. Okay, we're going to have a new partner. They're going to have a new property, and together that's going to energize both of us to, in effect, hopefully make both of us better and let each of us grow our fan bases and our viewership.
Look, the idea, just to follow up on that, the idea is to make the league, the games more accessible to core existing fans, and at the same time to leverage our platforms, including studio, as I mentioned before, to grow the game, to expand it, make it more attractive, use our platforms to showcase NHL stars. We're pretty good at this. And like I said before, we have many employees and many executives over here who are very excited to get going, who've been waiting for this moment, who've been waiting for the opportunity to re-engage and partner again with the league. And so I'm very optimistic in terms of our ability to help the sport grow, help the league grow, and like I said, provide greater access to fans across our platforms, both linear and digital.
Thanks, Jake. No, there are a lot of questions, but we're just about out of time. We'll take two more. Eric Fisher of the Sports Business Group. Go ahead, Eric.
Yes, good afternoon. Question for Jimmy. You probably saw the comments last week from Brian Roberts suggesting that there was going to be some sort of constriction in what NBC Universal can do with their rights post-NFL. Now that you've done this deal and we're anticipating some news soon on both Major League Baseball and the NFL, where do you see the ESPN Disney rights acquisition model going long term?
Hey, Eric. Look, nothing's changed here. We have the best programming and rights acquisitions team in the business that long predates me, run by a gentleman named Burke Magnus, who most of you, if not all of you, know. And we operate with discipline. And as Bob Chapek said a few weeks ago, we're focused on creating shareholder value. And at the same time, as we move forward here, every deal that we are contemplating, every discussion that we have has an ESPN Plus and digital component. That's actually been the case for several years now. That is not a new thing, but it is important to highlight. As we sit down at the table and have discussions, and I think Gary can confirm this from early on when we started to have these conversations, Gary knew that direct-to-consumer was important to us here at ESPN, and he was able to deliver, and we were able to get this done. But as we move forward, Eric, I think you can expect to see more of that. Again, as I said earlier, this deal is really a template of things to come. This is how we are evaluating things how we will be evaluating things as we move forward here, looking through both the linear lens and also the direct-to-consumer lens.
Thanks, Eric. The last question goes to Michael McCarthy of Front Office Sports. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, gentlemen, congrats on the deal. This question is for the commissioner. Commissioner, NBC Sports told us today that they would like to continue with the NHL, that they value the partnership a great deal. Are they still under consideration for the B package? And is Fox Sports bidding as well?
They told me the same thing today as well. And of course, they're under consideration. They've been good partners. As we move forward, we're going to continue our dialogue with them and see if we can get it all together and continue what has been a very productive relationship for both of us.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, Gary, for taking the time. Thanks, everybody, for joining us this afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon. So long.
Thank you.